do you use staggered time or do you start everyone at the same time? And what do you do with breaks?
So as I start with everybody at the same time, if I can. This very much depends on your kids. For example, I have a fourth grader, third grader, and first grader, and nowadays I can start everybody at the same time. For a little bit in there, in between, I couldn't start everybody at the same time because my second and third, hey, my little grandulo, did you see Daddy? So for a bit there in between, I couldn't start everybody at the same time because my first grader and my third grader really needed help. So then I couldn't start them at the same time. So this will very much vary on how is your kids, how are they learning? Because my oldest, she will start so easily. She will fly through things and she will be like, hey mommy, how do I do this? Hey mommy, how do I do that? And some things she will learn on her own. But my third grader, she has just started catching on to things and really learning things, how to learn things by herself. Because, for example, the CLE curriculum books, they will have, let me show you something here real quick. This is a book they did a while back, but they have like these things that explain the whole thing that they're learning. So sometimes they can learn these things by themselves from those examples and from the description. Sometimes they can't. My third grader has just started, this is second grade book, which, I mean, sometimes you're gonna make them redo things. I made my third grader redo second grade language arts because I was not happy with her results. And, but everything else she got to move on to third grade. And so she is catching on nicely now. Doing so much better. I think having a bit of last year she learned so much and her brain didn't catch up quite on everything. And her brain works differently. Everybody's child's brain's gonna work differently. My oldest learns super easy. The second one, she catches on fast, but she is more of a hands-on learner. If she can watch documentaries with her daddy, she's sold. She'll be so entertained with stuff that would bore me out of my mind. And my first grader, she will need me to sit there with her quite a bit nowadays too, because she's in first grade. First grade is a hands-on grade. Second grade, you can let go a little bit. And third grade, more. So now she's halfway through third grade and she needs less help. So now I can start everybody at the same time and have them do the things they can. And then while I work with the first grader, they can come and, hey mommy, how do I do this? Hey, can you show me how to do this? And then I will explain things to them and watch them do like a few examples. And I will later check back, say, did you do a good job? Or like, flip through their pages. If they didn't do a good job, we go back to what they needed to learn. But that way I only make little breaks in between with my first grader, which, I mean, she can doodle in her book or she can draw on a page or whatever. Our books have a lot of doodles. But yeah, I think every parent goes through a doodle phase with their kids. But depending on how your child's brain works, you might have a more extensive one. My second one definitely had a very much longer doodle phase than my other two so far. My first grader doesn't doodle as much as my third grader did for the longest time. And my first grader, her brain works different again as well, because every child's brain will work different. Some will be easier, but it's very important not to make your child feel as if they aren't good at what they're doing. So some people will start with the easiest subjects. I will usually start my kids on the hardest subject. On the one that I know they're struggling the most with, that's the one I'm gonna have them do first, because that way they can get it behind them and get going on the rest of their day. And that way, when they get up in the morning, they've had their food, they're getting started on their homework, they have the most energy to put into the hardest thing. And then they get that over with, and then they can do an easier one. For example, for my first grader, the CLE curriculum, the learning to read, has more pages. The language arts, especially the first, I think we're now up to 3 pages, but the first few books had only 2-page lessons. So we would do a language, a learning to read, which is longer. Then we would go to doing a language arts, where she's like, the first one, she's like questioning, do I got this? At the end, she'll be like, probably like, I'm so tired of all of this. But then you go to give them an easy one, language arts, and they're like, oh, this is a piece of cake. I can totally do this. And then we would usually have lunch break. For us, that just works best. And then we have lunch break, and after lunch, I will usually tell them, hey, you got so and so much time still, and then we're going back. Because if you tell your child, hey, it's off back to the desk, and they'll be like, oh, do I have to again? We just did homework anyway. Do I have to? Can't we wait till tomorrow? If you tell them, hey, you got 5 minutes, or hey, you got 30 minutes to do as you please, drag out whatever you want, 30 minutes, and then we're going to go do homework. Or 15 minutes, however much it is that is left until when you want to start again. And it's so much easier for them to be like, oh, okay, well, I did get some free time. For them to acknowledge in their brain, hey, yeah, I got the reward of free time, and now we're going to go back to work. And then I would, for my first grader, go back to math. Oh boy, my little baby got a cold. We're starting to get to the tail end of it with his cold. But so then I will go to math, because that's also a bit of a longer lesson. And a few things will be a bit more of a challenge for her. Because we do not live in the United States, the money thing for our kids is harder. If not, it would be so easy. She thinks the plus and minus stuff, oh, that's so easy peasy. And she loves the ones when there's like 3 numbers that she can add up, or the story problems. And so then they get to do math, and then she gets to do another easy one, like social studies or science or Bible, which is like short, sweet, little easy things. So she enjoys that. And then she's done for the day, and I can focus more on my 2nd grader and my 4th grader, who will usually take a little longer in those things. Unless there's something that's a little bit behind, of course, then you're gonna try and give them a break before you. I like to catch up. I'm not one of those people that reschedules. I like to catch up. But that's a cool thing about this app that my husband made me. It's so easy to reschedule things if you need to. But you can also keep scheduling things as is, and then be like, okay, so we're gonna do all of these lessons that we wanted to do today, plus 1. Or over the course of a week, we're gonna catch up those 2 or 3 lessons. If we feel like it one day, we'll do an extra lesson to catch up, or we won't. Or if we feel like it, we'll add on those extra 2 if the child is on a roll. And for us, our kids, they have the option of, after you do all the homework you're supposed to, because my girls really enjoy going to the computer. I will have my computer on there with the lessons, and then when they finished off a lesson, then they will go and mark it as completed. And for them, that just gives them like a micro break in between as well. So that is awesome. And yeah, we don't do a whole lot of breaks, but you can definitely work breaks in with your child as needed. Because once they get too tired and you keep pushing them, every once in a while you're like, okay, this is a point where we have to push through, because they haven't even finished a lesson. But if they get too tired and exhausted, they will get anxious. They will get like, they will feel their brain will be like, I just don't want to do this anymore. And they will learn nothing. And you can give them a break and tell them, hey, you got a 5-minute break, or hey, how about you go drink some water and see if you need to go to the toilet, or run around the house once, and then you come back and we'll continue on this. So then they had a micro break, and that sometimes can get them relaxed and get blood flowing back to their brain, and just get them back to doing their homework and finish it off. And of course, with like my oldest, she's my easiest. She will do a lot of learning. She will do on her own. And my poor husband, he has been champed through this. But for a while, when my oldest was in like 1st grade era, she did not want to learn how to read. Then all of a sudden, at bedtime, she's like, oh, but mommy, can I please learn to read a little bit? And eventually we gave in sometimes, and then we did lessons right at bedtime. And It just, the trick is don't overdo it even then. Make them go to bed eventually, but yeah. Find out when they want to learn and how they want to learn, and find ways to encourage them. Because also for my oldest, also it helped so much to just tell her, hey, if you learn this, you get this neat benefit out of it. You can write new songs. You can learn to sing brand new songs that you've never heard the words of. And for her, that was a great encouragement. She didn't care about reading stories. She'd rather watch a video, but she did care about learning new songs and reading new songs and being able to write them down for herself. So, yeah, that's how our starting and our day kind of ish goes, and our breaks go. I hope that answers the question. If you have any more, feel free to write and let us know any more questions you have. Even in the app, like there's a community area there where you can ask questions and have them answered by either us or by other mamas who have experience, because everybody has kids with different learning styles, and parents have different learning styles and teaching styles. So somebody will probably have been where you're at. If you Google how many homeschooling families there are these days, it's so many, it blows my mind. And I know years ago our community had very few homeschooling kiddos as well, and we now have a whole community of homeschool families, so which is awesome to have community. If the in-person community doesn't have it, the app community or some other site might have it. Feel free to ask questions there.